Finally, we're back.
Are we back?
Yep, we're back.
Sure.
Apologies to all those.
And we're back.
Apparently nobody at the degree drank any IPA. Leaving this stuff.
Thanks, sir.
They drank all the banquet beer.
Okay.
This really gets aggravating when
It's a lowbrow after
shit
party.
keeps freaking dying on me. But we're gonna just rip the audio off of YouTube. You know?
Yeah. So are we back? We're good?
We're live.
We're live. So
All right.
here we go.
Start it
Over.
over.
Got to do the freaking 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because I did 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and the shit went boom. So
Yeah, so we're not going to do that this
and
time.
I'll give everybody a premise of why we're having such freaking problems.
I don't think they care.
They don't care, but I'll fill it out now. So first, welcome to the Freemasons podcast. You want to do it? Go ahead, lead it. Welcome to the Freemasons podcast with your host, Right Worshipful Brother George Mudry.
Worshipful Brother Joe.
And Worshipful Brother Ken.
And hopefully this thing stays working. But so what happened was, apologies for all the audio and visual and all that stuff. I was going to upload the last 2 episodes, and I also want to apologize for the delay of uploading the last 2 episodes after I do my little bit of editing and all that stuff. I went to go turn on my old shitty Dell computer, and
The Rocco special.
it
Dude, you're
went
getting it down.
Ugats. Ugats. The damn thing wouldn't even turn
You could
on.
hear Rocco in the background like, "Woogats."
It was totally dead. So I had to bring everything over here to the Apple MacBook that I got, and I haven't quite, for whatever reason, and anybody who's a tech out there, please, because the robot's useless. He helps as much as he can. But if I turn on the soundboard, the camera won't work. Then there's times where if I turn on the camera, the soundboard won't work. So it's the pissing match between the two, whatever the hell, inputs, whatever.
Yeah.
So
So
they're just not working together. They're not playing nice, if you
Should
will.
try the third input.
They're fucking
I don't know
terrible.
where that one is. It's around back. So if there's out there that know anything about USB diagnostics with a MacBook, please reach out to us because I know nothing about
Yeah,
this.
I know nothing about. I mean, I have a MacBook. I'm not that freaking good at it.
Yeah.
I do it for basic stuff. Don't ask me to do anything on Microsoft Word or work either. The Microsoft Office, I can't.
See, I use that every day.
Don't ask me how to do an Excel sheet.
Oh, yeah.
It'll look like all
Oh,
living
I
hell.
can do all kinds of pivot tables and
fucking
stuff.
macro shit.
Yeah, no,
Freaking
good.
love pivot table.
Anyway, well, this episode is 176, and we're going to be doing actually Brother George Washington. We're going to debate on whether or not this is true, accurate, work of fiction, truth, whatever. But it is in the Library of Congress, and it is George Washington's Valley Forge Visions.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but
Well,
Mm.
all right, Giorgio. Anyway, let's start off first with a couple of likes.
all right, let's do some Facebook likes. Quite a few since we last read them there. So let's pull them up. We've got Jaron Hansen, Tim Walker, Tyler Powell, Elhuria Miles, Skylar Brown, Bradley Craig, James Erhan, David Emmanuel, Jacqueline Jansen Keenan, Kelly Powell, Tanny GT Boss Stars, 2 Z's on that one.
Nice.
Garrett Thayer, J, Mike Sowetimans. It's spelled like he could be from Iceland. So we might have reached somebody there. Antonio Torres, and I believe I already read Joshua Pankey last week. So that's what we've got on new Facebook likes.
Over on Instagram, we got a few. I might do a little bit of overlap here. We got Skylar Brown, Austin Manley, James Magia, Aaron Wolk, Dylan, Taylor Stringfellow. We know him. OK Traveler 93. Yikes, haha. Elliot Tuck, sorry, and Spencer Miller, who we also know.
Awesome. Let's toast them. Brother Joe, lead it.
Brothers, right hand to arms.
To
To
arms.
arms.
Ready.
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire, good fire. Fire all. Together, brothers.
Vivat, vivat, vivat. Apple reviews.
Apple review.
So the last one I did was Wesley.
Crusher?
Wesley Crusher.
Shut up, Wesley.
This one is from Prodigy Quick. Oh, no, excuse me. Let's start with this one. Skybro 32.
Skybro.
Sounds familiar.
Right.
Love hearing the history. 5-star review. Listening to other brothers from other areas is great. Y'all keep it up. With the y'all, I already know. He's from Grandview Lodge, 266 in Texas.
Not
Dig
Bloomy.
it.
Not Bloomy.
Not Bloomy.
Thank you, brother. And also, I think we have something for Texas Masons, don't we?
Yes, we do. We have a pin that's up there. That's I haven't quite sent out yet. Well, somebody,
Star Mason.
Surprise, we have pins that haven't been sent out by you
you
yet.
son of a bitch! I gotta get him to ref me. Great listen, Prodigy. Quick, 5-star review. Funny and informative. Yeah, usually at my expense. But greetings from Michigan, Perry Lodge, 350. Another brother.
Welcome, brother.
And this one is from our Discord brother,
Oh, boy.
Anthony Vituzio, I think his name is, or Anthony. I can't say Italian last names. I don't even know how to say freaking Alfonso or whatever the hell his name is. Rocco.
Alfonzetti.
Alfonzetti.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is from brother Anthony. These guys crack me up. Define which ones.
Yeah,
Some of them
Be
are
more specific.
punch in the nose. But no, seriously. These guys crack me up. 5-star review. The Freemasons podcast is great. A nice balance between Masonic education, relevant current topics, events, with just the right amount of breaking stones. These guys show that Masons can get the work done while also having a good time. The Patreon Discord content is well worth it. Laughs every day in between the podcasts. Been quiet this week though, and then today
it picked up. Yeah, today it blew up a little
Just
bit.
haven't been on.
Yeah. Excellent work, brothers. Keep it up. Anthony Vittoriso. I think I said it right. Tony V.
I'm gonna.
Hey, my name is fucking
bet
Tony V.
Yeah, he's just Tony V.
Fucking Tony V. Who got Humane number 21, Rochester, New Hampshire. Very nice. Thank you all. Thank you, brothers,
Yes, thank you.
for the 5-star reviews. Keep that shit coming. I love it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Canny, laid it.
Right on. Brothers, right hand to arms.
To arms.
Ready.
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire, good fire, fire all. Together, brethren.
Vivat, vivat, vivat. I think next podcast, we'll do another challenge because it swallows up some time and we're already delayed. So let's get right into this.
Should we do that one other toast, or are you saving that for the end?
Save that for the end.
Okay.
Don't let me forget.
Yep.
So let's get right into this. Washington's Vision. This particular website,
And it was all that.
No, keep going.
This particular website says this work of fiction was published in 1861. Its author, Charles Wesley Alexander, published numerous allegorical stories featuring famous American figures. Unfortunately, many people have misunderstood the nature of the piece and believe that it is a genuine interview with a real person relating his personal recollections of serving with Washington at Valley Forge. It is not. It is a work of fiction created nearly a century after the winter at Valley Forge. Was it though? Was it? That begins the great debate on this particular piece. One is not that George Washington was bullshitting, I guess you could say, but that the author was unauthentic. May be the case, but either way, remember this was published in 1861, and when you start to hear this particular vision, it's eerily foreboding.
Yeah. I mean, even works of fiction have like a kernel of truth about them, right? And that's what makes them authentic, and that's what makes people, it makes it resonate with people. So,
right. You doubtlessly heard the story of Washington going to the thicket to pray in secret for aid and comfort from God. True. He used to do this frequently.
It's actually a famous painting showing that too.
Very. An interposition of whose divine providence brought us safely through the darkness days of tribulation. One day, I remember it well, when the chilly winds whistled through the leafless trees. Through the sky was cloudless, and the sun shone brightly. He remained in his quarters nearly all afternoon alone. Frequently, he did this.
Mhm.
He was.
Introspection and whatnot. He was into
We
it.
think of Washington as this guy who was like very proud, and actually he had a lot of self-doubting that he did amongst himself that he just never showed. He did a lot of his. It was quite frequently he went into solitude. Just because if he was his own, what's the word I'm looking for, Joe? Where you're picking yourself apart.
Yeah, self-doubt.
Self-doubt,
There
there we go, yeah.
There's another thing called imposter syndrome, where you don't feel like you should be in the position that you're in, like you're not
Correct.
good enough. And yeah, he introspected a lot to try
So he
to
did-
cover that.
Yeah, he did a lot of this. There seemed to be something on his mind of more than ordinary importance. Returning just after dusk, he dispatched an orderly to his quarters. Presently, after a preliminary conversation about an hour, Washington, gazing upon his companion with a strange look of dignity which he alone commanded, related the event that occurred that day. George Washington's vision. This afternoon, and this is something he relayed to whoever.
To the author,
Yeah.
or somebody. Yeah.
This afternoon, as I was sitting at a table, engaged in preparing a dispatch, a letter, if you will, something seemed to disturb me. Looking up, I beheld standing opposite me a singularly beautiful female. So astonished was I, for I had given strict orders not to be disturbed, that it was some moments before I found language to inquire the cause of her presence. A third, and even a fourth time did I repeat my question, but received no answer from my mysterious visitor except a slight raising of her eyes. By this time, I felt strange sensations spreading through me. I would have risen, but riveted gaze of the being before me rendered. You could definitely tell this is old English, and then you guys are going to pick my ass apart for this.
So wait, are you stating that you're better at New English?
Oh, you bastard. Let me try this again. I would have risen, but the riveted gaze of the being before me rendered volition impossible. Volition, thank you.
Yeah.
I essayed once more to address her, but my tongue had become useless, as though it had become paralyzed.
Absinthe.
So let's start. I know we're all laughing about aliens and stuff, but this is something that's even in the Bible. And I'm not saying this is true. I'm just throwing it out there. That in the Bible, this also happened quite frequently when people were visited by angels and God, whatnot, or whatever. A new influence, mysterious, potent, irresistible, took possession of me. All I could do was gaze steadily, vacantly at my own unknown visitor. Gradually, the surrounding atmosphere seemed as if it had become filled with sensations and luminous. Everything about me seemed to rarefy. The mysterious visitor herself becoming more airy and yet more distinct to the sight than before. Have you guys ever read this? Have you guys ever heard
No,
I read it the other day when you brought it
Oh,
up.
okay.
I'm just guessing based on what you're saying what the words are. That's all.
Nice. Your turn, Ken. You can have it.
Okay.
I now began to feel as one dying, or rather to experience the sensations which I have sometimes imagined accompany disillusion. I did not think, I did not reason, I did not move. All were alike impossible. I was only conscious of gazing fixedly, vacantly at my companion. Presently, I heard a voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." While at the same time, my visitor, it's kind of giving me freaking goosebumps.
Yeah, I'm weird, right?
While at the same time, my visitor extended her arm eastwardly, and now I beheld a heavy white vapor at some distance rising fold upon fold. This gradually dissipated, and I looked upon a stranger scene. Before me lay, spread out in one vast plain, all the countries of the world, Europe, Asia, Africa, and America. I saw rolling and tossing between Europe and America, and billows of the Atlantic between Asia and America lay the Pacific. Son of the Republic, said the same mysterious voice as before, look and learn. At that moment, I beheld a dark, shadowy being, like an angel, standing or rather floating in midair between Europe and America. Dipping water out of the ocean in a hollow of each hand, he sprinkled some upon America with his right hand, while with his left hand he cast some on Europe. Immediately a cloud raised from these countries and joined it in mid-ocean. For a while it remained stationary and then moved slowly westward until it enveloped America in its murky folds. Sharp flashes of lightning gleamed through it at intervals, and I heard the smothered groans and cries of the American people. Need a break real quick.
Now I'm reading it along with you.
Okay. Thank you. A second time, the angel dipped water from the ocean and sprinkled it out as before. The dark cloud was then drawn back to the ocean, in whose heaving billows it sank from view. A third time, I heard the mysterious voice saying, Son of the Republic, look and learn. I cast my eyes upon America and beheld villages and towns and cities springing up one after another until the whole land from Atlantic to Pacific was dotted with them. Again I heard the mysterious voice saying, Son of the Republic, the end of the century cometh, look and learn. At this, dark, shadowy angel turned his face southward, and from Africa I saw, well, hold on, before I get into this. So, I mean, we could pretty much surmise that he's talking about the American Revolution.
Yeah, because he's going Europe. You've got France involved. You've got England involved. You've got the United States, and then talking about the westward expansion.
Right. Right. Again, I heard the mysterious voice say, Son of the Republic, the end of the century cometh, look and learn. I mean, you could even go as far as, if you don't think it's the American Revolution, could even be the War of 1812, because, I mean, Britain was not only fighting Napoleon in Europe, was in darkness, but then eventually, America got, found its balls and decided to go after England. And now England, once they got done whooping Napoleon's ass, came looking for us.
Well, yeah. And honestly, the first thing I thought, before you talked about the villages popping up from east to west, first thing I thought of was World War II. Because you had Germany and you had NATO. Right. Your allied forces pretty much are Europe and America. And then you've got the Pacific theater on the other side, and it spoke specifically about lightning, the Blitzkrieg. So that's what initially popped in my head. But then when you brought in the expansion to the west.
All right, let's get into, so anyway, again, I heard the mysterious voice say, Son of the Republic, the end of the century cometh, look and learn. At this time, the dark, shadowy angel turned his face southward, and from Africa I saw an ill-omened specter approach our land. It fiddled slowly over every town and city of the latter. The inhabitants presently set themselves to battle array against one another. As I continued looking, I saw a bright angel whose brow rested a crown of light, in which traced the word Union, bearing the American flag, which he placed between the divided nation and said, Remember ye our brethren. Yeah, instantly, the inhabitants casting from them their weapons, became friends once more and united around the national standard. So, I mean, you could surmise
Civil War.
Clearly, the Civil War.
Coming from Africa is the slave trade, which is ultimately what divided the nation.
Remind me again. When did the Civil War start?
1860, mid 1800s, yeah.
1860, 1861, 64.
Maybe.
Come on, somebody got to be.
I'm thinking 1850.
I don't have it up in front of me.
Mid 1800s.
Yeah, mid 1800s. Let's go with it. I thought something different. When I heard that, I thought terrorists. I thought 9/11, and then I thought the unity that happened after 9/11, where the entire country came together and rallied around.
Okay,
the standard.
Because that was 2000 and that was 2000, 2001.
That was it was 2001.
2001, yeah.
September 11th, 2001.
So
that's a little scary. if you think about it in that way.
I mean, you could also think
Yeah.
about it in two different ways, and I'll point those out right now. So I just want to be clear that the Civil War began April 12th, 1861. So, thank you, Joseph Schultz. I'm double screening here, so yeah, it started in 1861. So you can surmise that the author of this, he probably, I don't know what time of 1861 it started.
Well, this was authored in what?
1861.
1861.
So
okay.
this would be the beginning of Civil War,
Right.
which means he now has, even if this whole article is bullshit,
Yep.
and Washington never said any of this.
Right. He still
The
wrote
author
it in
wrote it
1861.
that we're going to put our weapons down and become friends again. So that's a prediction in itself, which
Right.
is kind of.
Curious to see what he predicts after
and there's
that.
more. He wrote more.
Oh, wait,
I
there's
know.
more.
So,
I just want to also say it could also be attributed to today.
Mhm.
We have a lot of racial things going on, a divided nation.
Yep.
So, I mean, could he be talking about 1861 or 2021?
no, he was talking about the end of the century. That's why I was thinking like 2001.
2011.
Africa is like kind of like the Middle East.
Well, Libya is technically Africa,
The,
right?
the country came to the
Unfortunately,
country came together after that.
that is the only problem with visions and in predictions.
Right, you have to
They're
ascribe.
open.
Yeah.
They're open. I mean, Nostradamus. You can throw anything at Nostradamus.
Right, because they're so vague that
Yeah.
you can kind of fit it.
Yeah,
But I
they're
had a
vague.
vision of love, and it was all that I thought it would be.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have a lot of visions here on this freaking podcast. We did a whole freaking Masonic Peppers episode. Next thing you know,
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah. I mean, that's not because we're
could be.
presaging things.
We might.
I
though.
think
we
we should
might
all
be,
come in
we
with
might
those
be.
big wrapped headbands with the gem in the middle.
I think Ken has a tinfoil hat somewhere.
I do have a tinfoil hat.
All right, let's continue. And I again heard the mysterious voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." At this, the dark, shadowy angel placed a trumpet to his mouth and blew 3 distinct blasts. If you notice, one thing I did notice when I was reading this, 3 comes up frequently.
Mhm.
Or Washington had chili that night.
Or maybe it's like Monty Python in the Social Holy Grail when the angels bend over and shove the trumpet up their ass. He blew 3 distinct blasts, and taking water from the ocean, he sprinkled it upon Europe, Asia, and Africa. Then my eyes beheld a fearful scene. From each of these countries arose thick black clouds that were soon joined into one. Through this mass, there gleamed a dark and red light by which I saw hordes of armed men who, moving with the cloud, marched by land and sailed by sea to America. A country was enveloped in this volume of cloud, and I saw these vast armies devastate the whole country and burn the villages, towns, and cities that I beheld springing up. As my ears listened to the thundering of the cannon, clashing of sword, and the shouts and cries of millions in mortal combat, I heard again the mysterious voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." When the voice had ceased, the dark, shadowy angel placed his trumpet once more to his mouth and blew a long and fearful blast. Instantly, a light of 1,000 suns shone down from above me and pierced and broke into fragments the dark cloud which enveloped America. At the same moment, an angel upon whose head still shone the word Union and who bore our national flag in one hand and a sword in the other, descended from the heavens, attended by legions of white spirits. These immediately joined the inhabitants of America, who I perceived were well nigh overcome, but who immediately taking courage again, closed up their broken ranks and renewed the battle. Damn.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't mess with America.
Heavy shit right there.
And that could be referring to 9/11. That part right there.
Yeah, but I mean, it talks about every.
could, but
The red light coming through.
yeah.
Yeah, but it also says that
a divided nation uniting again. Remember? Do you remember September 12th? Do you remember how American every single
Oh, yeah.
person was on September 12th?
the only thing is, it talks about again. It talks about that cities and villages and towns and were being smashed and people are in mortal combat. I
could be referring to right now.
They could be referring to right now, and the reason why I say that is because there is no doubt that there is other national influences in the United States that want to see the top dog fall, and here we are also fighting amongst ourselves.
And when you talk about the red light, that could be communism. That could be
I
Russia.
went
That
with
could
Red
be
Light
China.
Special. It's just where my head went.
I went Roxanne by the Police.
Yeah.
Well, you went TLC, Red Light
That's right.
Special. I love that freaking song.
If
you want it, give you the
It is kind of creepy though to hear that.
Yeah.
Because that's now predicting something that is yet to come. And I don't care who you are. I mean, whether you think it's all hokey bullshit or whatever, any prediction about the future that is gloom and doom, kind of,
Yeah.
I think of like the book of Revelation. Jesus is coming. He gonna get you,
David too.
At the very least, though, anything-
Nostradamus, this guy, like there's been, and understand the majority of the people who predict things end up being wrong. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's like throwing darts at the wall. Eventually, one's going to stick, right?
Eventually, but you never know. Like there's some things that when I went on my monastic, some things that I meditated on, and some things that I wrote down in a journal that I've sealed up in an envelope and put in my fire safe at home. So make sure you get those and read them live on the air because there's some interesting shit in there. It's really interesting stuff.
So, are you the soothsayer?
I'm the oldest.
You're
so
Miss
maybe-
Cleo, aren't you? You're like, who the baby?
I'm just saying, there's some things you write them down, you seal them up, and you put them away, and like, hey, what?
time capsule. I mean, even if this is like a complete farce, it's still a good lesson, right? The lesson is basically, the country needs to keep coming together and it needs to unite when there is strife, when we're divided. I think that's a good lesson, even if you take it just at face value.
Yeah, I agree. Still, yeah. Again, even if you don't believe Washington said this, and this guy is just writing stuff up, he's making predictions. Again, he predicted in a sense. Well, truthfully, I mean, we all had
Is it that far fetched though? Let's boil
there was
that
two.
down. Is it that far fetched?
Well, let's go to the Civil War one, right? If he predicted that we were going to be friends again in the Civil War, when the Civil War was on its onset, don't forget, during the Civil War, there were actually, I don't remember what the hell they were called, the rattlesnakes, the vipers or something. It was a group of politicians that were actually looking for a peace treaty so that the North and the South would be divided. There were people.
Yeah.
So that was a potential outcome.
Right. You could have had two separate
generally,
countries.
generally, if he wasn't such a military dumbass and actually decided to not fight at Gettysburg with Pickett's last stand and actually used his freaking brain, he could have potentially won and beat the North. So we all could have been Confederate.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there was 3 potential outcomes that could have happened. So to predict that 4 years prior, I'd say it's a pretty. So, I mean, you could have got lucky too. I mean, and then
He
this
could
all
have,
would have been.
but
You have
like,
a 33% chance.
think about this story in relation to. I want to shy away from religion, but it kind of has those same connotations to it.
Right.
Freaking Moses spoke to a burning freaking bush. Like people buy into that. People buy into.
Wait, he didn't?
Well, it could have just been a redhead.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying.
Wait,
Strict interpretation.
Are you propping
versus-
yourself up as God?
No, I'm talking about a red bush,
I know. I'm kidding.
a fiery bush.
Oh God! Here we go. Devolve quick.
No, but like
I'm sorry,
you think
Sean.
about things like that. You think about, and I'd love to do an episode on the Mormons one day. I know we touched on it with Morgan, and Lucinda was tied into Brigham Young and
Did we touch?
Joseph
Did we
Smith.
touch on it in Discord, or did it turn into a spear flinging contest? I feel like it was.
Well, but Joseph Smith going in and finding the golden tablets and an angel appearing to him.
Right.
Is it that ridiculous? Like the story has been told throughout time. What are the 3 kids in? Oh Christ, Rio. Where's the
kids
big
in
Jesus
Rio,
statue on the?
Well, yeah, it's
on
Rio
the-
de Janeiro. Yeah.
Right. Oh Christ.
There was a.
What do they call
kids
those
celebration.
kids? Yeah,
you also have
where Mary came and spoke to the 3 kids.
Yeah,
Somebody
that was in Portugal, I believe. That was
Fatima.
Fatima. Yeah.
Fatima. Wherever
that
Fatima.
was
Fatima.
Portugal. Okay.
This type of event has been repeated throughout history as long as there's been historical records kept.
Right.
If you believe one, you kind of got to give the other ones a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I'm saying. I'm
Fair
not
enough.
saying that
I wish it wasn't.
absolutely believe in it, but
I guess I wish it was written in Washington's words. Like he would have. Now, I just want to be clear. Maybe he did write this story down because a lot of the things after, when he was Martha Washington burned a lot of correspondence, especially between him and her. So I think there's only like one love letter between those two while he was at war because she burned all the stuff.
But
she didn't want anybody to have it.
Think of it this way: the three of us. Let's just say it's the
I'm not
three of
writing you a
us.
love letter.
No, but if I come to you guys, I'm not somebody that's going to like publish a book or look for fame or publicity. But I might come to you guys and go like, weirdest freaking thing just happened, and here's what I just experienced. I'm not going to do it, but if something happens to me down the line, you guys might be like, "Oh, we got to tell that story. We have to convey what Joe told us because some of these things are happening." So that might be what he did to this servant or whoever came in.
Here's another problem with that, though. Okay, because if you came up here and I was like, "Dude, you'll never believe what happened," and I told you that story, you'd be like, "Shut the fuck up!"
Yeah.
Like,
I'm telling you,
so full of
there might be
shit.
some tidbits in my fire safe for you guys.
Oh, God.
But they would be in my own word. But God forbid they were like, I'm just saying, like if I conveyed a story to you guys and at the time you thought nothing of it.
Right.
But then as things started to come to fruition, you're like, oh my God, remember that story Joe told me?
Yeah, if you told it in like a monk robe or something,
Right.
I'd be
I could
like,
do
okay, yeah. I mean, it's,
My
Jesus.
my
Clearly.
Jedi / Jesus costume where it's coming up on that time of year.
it'll give you a little bit more gravitas, I think.
What? Get us in trouble. We already had freaking people on YouTube freaking calling us devil worshippers, and I know what you're about.
I'm
You're
Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Yeah,
man.
but you know what? They call us that even when we're not doing stuff.
Right,
like
so we
that.
might
I
as well
think
screw it.
the next time we get something like that happen, we should all just come up here and dress up like AC/DC on the highway.
Did you see the
How did they dress in that video? I don't remember. Why are you looking
I don't know.
at
Did
me
you
like
see on
that?
Discord today how they want us to recreate some stuff at the building at King Solomon's Temple? And
We could do that. We could do
It would be
that.
funny.
It would be funny.
But hey, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you here, but we've mentioned Discord and Patreon a few times, so I just wanted to shout out that for as little as $5 a month, you can become a member of Patreon and support the show. And with that, you'll get exclusive access to Patreon content, our Discord channels, which we have a little Discord thing to unveil in a little bit.
Holiday is on, by the way.
You'll also get the gold tone Freemasons podcast pin, all for as little as $5 a month. And then you may get them. For our premier Discordians, you may get immortalized in a photo that's going to go up on the wall here in the podcast studio, which you'll see in a little bit. Oh, gracias.
All right, so let's get back into this. We'll finish this story up, and then we'll continue on here. So these white spirits came down, helped the inhabitants of the United States fight back, and done juice. All right. Again, amid
I was more going for Shaggy, but go ahead.
all right. Again, amid the fearful noise of conflict, I heard the mysterious voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." As the voice ceased, the shadowy angel for the last time dipped water into the ocean and sprinkled it upon America. Instantly, fucking knew you were gonna
We're going to describe the gesture.
we'll describe the gesture. The
From
The Hangover.
Oh, that's right, because not everybody's
Yes.
going to
No,
see.
I said they
Hangover.
weren't
what
going
was
to.
that?
Hangover. What's
Oh.
his name? What was
I
that?
forget his name.
Chang? No. What the hell was the Chinese guy's name? But he does the whole
Like the rolling the dice.
rolling the dice,
Rolling
and
the
then
dice.
letting his hand go. Anyway, he dipped his
Same
water.
thing Hannibal Lecter. Not Hannibal
Yeah.
Lecter, but the guy in the next cell did.
Yes. For the last time, dipped the water in the ocean and sprinkled it upon America. Instantly, the dark cloud rolled back, together with the armies it had brought, leaving the inhabitants of the land victorious. Then once more I beheld villages, towns, and cities spring up where I had seen them before, while the bright angel, planting the azure standard, Azure
Azure.
standard, he had brought in the midst of them, cried with a loud voice, while the stars remain and the heavens send down dew upon the earth, so long shall the union last. And taking from his brow the crown on which emblazoned the word union, he placed it upon the standard, while the people kneeling down said amen.
So mote it be.
So would it be?
Here's what I find interesting about that. Look at some of the symbology of the Knights Templar with the crown being laid on the cross, like on its side.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Quite similar to if you ever look at a standard is not a flag. I want to be clear. A standard is an up and down flag. Right, it's what you would call a standard. Have you ever seen like the Romans when they march? You have the flags that go. They're vertical rather than horizontal.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
That is
the
standard.
The standard bearer in Knights Templar,
Correct.
has the banner of the commandery, which is vertical. Like
right.
That. Yeah. Okay.
And then he took the crown and put it on the top of it.
Yep.
Placed it upon the standard while the people kneeled down saying amen. If that ain't a Knight Templar symbology shit right there,
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's crazy.
And it was 1860s, wasn't Commandery Knights Templar, was that around in America at that time? I kind of feel like it was.
Kind of feel like it was.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up. I'll look it up in a minute.
That'd be interesting.
I don't want to add up too many screens here. The scene instantly began to fade and dissolve, and I at last saw nothing but the rising, curling vapor at which I first beheld. This also disappearing, I found myself once more gazing upon the mysterious visitor, who in the same voice I had heard before said, "Son of the Republic, what you have seen is thus interpreted. 3 great perils will come upon the Republic." Keep my comments to myself. Most fearful is the third. But in this great conflict, the whole world united shall not prevail against her. Let every child of the Republic learn to live for his God, his land, and the Union. With these words, the vision vanished, and I started from my seat. Hold on. With these words, the vision vanished, and I started from my seat and felt that I had seen a vision wherein had been shown to me the birth, progress, and destiny of the United States. Okay, can I just interject, though?
Yeah.
He said, and I started from my seat. What does that mean?
Started like startled, like got up.
Got up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably just
You can use
nowhere in there, though.
Old use of the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is why I don't. I mean, you can't tell me that George Washington couldn't have dropped. What the fuck was that all about?
Yeah. I mean, he wouldn't have committed that to paper, I'm sure.
No, he wouldn't have. But like, you know.
So I said, what the?
So let's break this down from 2 different things. First thing we'll break down is if this was real. This was a Washington vision.
Okay.
I don't believe this also is in the Library of Congress. Just want to be clear. Kind of interesting that they would put a work of fiction in the Library of Congress.
I mean, there are other
I think
works
there are
of
other,
fiction in there too.
all
It's
right.
not- yeah. It's just anything that's really kind of related to the
Bible's
the countries
right.
in there. Yeah.
First off, so let's just say, bastards. Let's just start.
Subtle ones.
Threw me off. So let's just say, let's take this as work really happened. Let's just say this actually happened. How do you unpack that shit? Like, how could you imagine sitting there? You're just doodling. Ken's freaking doing robot things. Joe's doing monastery things. I'm doing crayon things, and all of a sudden,
Just like that. There's a vision.
Sons of the podcast.
Yeah.
Look and learn.
Sons of the craft.
Look and learn.
like, how would you be able to keep your composure?
I wouldn't. It'd probably scare the crap out of me at first.
I mean, it's funny because he says, I was like, hello, who's this female? Hello.
Well, because maybe it was that.
Realistic
That you're like
somebody who like walked into his tent.
it would scare me. I'm like one of those people. Like I love the ghost hunter shows. I love all that. But when I'm in my mother lodge, Ashla Aspetuck, and I've got to run to the other side of the room to turn the light on, I actually
You get
physically
creeped
run
Yeah.
to the other side of the room and turn the light on.
Yeah, I
It
have that
creeps me
problem
out.
too. I feel bad.
Or somebody scares me, I'm like, I fall down. I'm like one of those freaking goats.
Collapses.
It is
You ever see
freaky,
the
though.
goats?
Oh yeah, the pygmy goats.
Yeah, that's what happens to me.
If
You scare me,
scare
I
them-
just fall down.
If you scare them, they like get paralyzed and they
Yeah.
fall over.
That's
It's the
literally
funniest
me.
thing. Yeah.
So let me ask, if this was ever to happen to you,
Yeah.
would you relay it to anybody? Because here's the big debate. Okay,
Uh-huh.
this guy didn't come forward and say that Washington relayed this to him until almost, 1776 to 1861.
Yeah.
That's a long ass
It's
time.
110 years or so. Yeah.
Which means that it couldn't have came word of mouth from this author. It had to have come from it's a third person account.
Right.
Yeah. Or transcribed from
Right.
a first person.
So if it were to happen to me, would I tell somebody? Yes, absolutely, without a doubt.
Mhm.
Kind of like when you have a really weird dream and you feel like you have to tell somebody just in case it comes true.
Mhm.
So absolutely, without a doubt, something like this happened to me. I would start with the premise. I can remember telling my brother a story about something that happened to me, and I started with, his reply was, "Do you realize that's what all crazy people say?"
Son of Zanino, look and learn.
So yes, absolutely, I would want to relay that, and I could understand me come to you guys saying, "Hey, keep this between us."
Right.
But I have to tell somebody because it was an amazing experience and a horrifying experience, whatever that experience is. And then you'd probably be like, "Joe's hitting the crown again,"
Yeah,
or
exactly.
maybe he got into Rocco Stash,
Yeah.
like something. But if what I started to tell you started to unfold, you might then say, "Hey, we got to get together. What do you remember? What do you remember? Let's start
Yeah,
writing it
right.
down because what he told us
Yeah.
is starting to come to fruition."
So I kind of got a little bit more information here, and it says this is actually Washington's vision is a narrative presented as the 1859 reminiscences of 99-year-old Anthony Sherman, who was supposedly present at George Washington's army at Valley Forge in the winter of 1777. So this particular guy goes on to say, the last time I ever saw Anthony Sherman was on the 4th of July, 1859 in Independence Square. He was 99 years old. His
Wow.
dimming eyes rekindled. Moving on. I'm looking for the guy who
So
supposedly...
it happened on July 4th. This guy relayed the story. What a better time. And think about, if I wanted to make an argument for this, yes, this did happen, I'd say, think about the Battle of Valley Forge. How bad a shape the Continental Army was in then. People wanted to just desert and go home.
So-
What would convince you at that point with defeat imminent, convince you to push on and continue the fight to the point where the tide of the whole war turned at Valley Forge?
A vision by your leader.
So this
perhaps.
guy...
It's some kind of divine intervention, right?
Well, look at the Emperor Constantine. That's how that's what he basically said that helped the Romans win the battle against, I don't know, was it Thracians or something like that. But anyway, seen a vision in the sky, and that's where you get in hoc signo vinces.
Yep. Yeah.
He said he seen the cross in the sky, and we'll get into that in a minute. I
That's a
just wanna-
story that's repeated throughout history too,
Right.
by
Right.
various
So-
leaders.
Fatima,
Yep.
the same.
This
vision.
was Charles Wesley Alexander, who said that he heard it from Anthony Sherman,
right.
who heard it. So
Who
unfortunately,
heard it from Washington. So it's like fourth hand.
right. As for Emperor Constantine, you have to understand though, leaders will do. I think you just kind of said that leaders will do certain things to motivate their men.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because morale will crush an army like that.
Absolutely.
And for instance,
And it was certainly a problem at
Yeah,
Valley
at
Forge.
Valley-
And
absolutely.
you're talking late 1700s. They're God-fearing people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Without a doubt. So if your general comes to you and say, again, I'm not saying it to discount it or to prove it,
Right.
but if word gets out amongst the group that Washington, who was greatly respected at the time, wow, there was some kind of divine intervention thing here. He actually spoke to some higher being. Yeah, let's keep pushing on. Let's keep fighting.
No, and there's a great line in the movie 300 when Leonidas is talking to the king of Persia, Darius, or Xerxes, excuse me. And he says,
the lash they fear most.
Yeah.
it's my divine power. But those are the two things that motivate an army.
Yeah.
Military,
Discipline.
military discipline. And, the other thing is morale. And it's absolutely true that, in the case of Emperor Constantine, he did it twofold. One, it inspired his army. And two, he also had a whole bunch of Christians that were destroying freaking Rome, basically.
Well, that's the thing.
So all of a sudden, magically, I'm saved. I found Jesus.
Yeah,
And then all of a
exactly.
sudden, now the emperor, and no one's going to go against the emperor, right?
Right.
And now you've just, in a sense, reassembled your empire
Right.
under a new
Under a
found
slightly
religion,
different,
And throughout history,
and saved your empire.
throughout history, whether the intent was right or wrong, that belief that you had the backing of a divine power
Gives you credibility.
drove everything. I mean, some of the most extreme terrorists believe that the jihad is in the book, and this is what they have to do.
70 virgins
And
in heaven.
it's an extreme interpretation of the Quran.
Right.
But that's when you think God is on your side.
It's a prime motivator. Yeah.
It's a huge motivator, especially if that's part of your culture.
Well,
God
here you
fearing
go.
people.
You have, let's look at the Crusades. They got into Antioch. I don't remember who the hell the one of the monks was or whatever, but he ran into the church, shut the doors behind him, started magically digging in this freaking cathedral or this church, and all of a sudden, the Spear of Destiny, I found it.
Yeah.
The armies were all freaking. It remotivated.
And that's
them.
why-
It figured it.
And
So-
that is why, you take some not so good leaders or some people like Adolf Hitler looked for those type of artifacts
Absolutely.
to back
Have
his
that
cause, to
credibility,
have that credibility.
Well, that is also why you have now three spears of destiny. One doesn't even look like a spear. It's in Armenia, but you got the Vienna one, and then you have another one that's an exact replica.
Yeah.
Right.
So which
And
one's real? It's all it's all kind of say, oh, we got the real thing,
Yeah.
and people surround around that.
And it's like back in about 10 years or so ago, Tim Tebow, playing for the Broncos at the time, prayed to God to do well in the playoffs. And then Tom Brady said, I'm busy right now. I can't take your call.
Jesus Christ. If we're operating under the assumption that this was legit, okay, and that George Washington, let's just assume that
Define
he did
legitimacy. It actually
Okay.
happened,
Yeah,
or George Washington used this to
that-
motivate his
Yeah,
army.
let's operate under the assumption that it did
That
happen.
there was some
To
type
Washington.
of supreme being that intervened.
And I
or
do
that-
believe in angelic visions. I do believe that
Absolutely.
happened.
or that he at least believed
At least
that, it
that he
happened
believed
to him.
that's what he
Right.
saw.
Right.
He may have gotten to the Rocco stash.
George Washington being the wise man that he was, and he's well reputed for this, I'm sure he would consider it and say, okay, this just happened to me in this tent. Do I want to use it to try to motivate my troops?
Right.
There might, I mean,
Might be some merit to that.
there might, but he's also, keep in mind, he's a very moral person.
He's a
right?
moral and pious man too.
So
Like,
he's not going to use it to his own advantage or to, for his own personal ends. He might use it to
I do have a counter to this. though.
reinvigorate his troops.
And then I have something to counter your counter.
Right, but are you as George Washington going to commit that down to paper?
You have to understand though, Washington.
I would say probably not.
no, probably not. Washington was a military man, and he was fairly well. I mean, I know people say, "Oh, he got his ass kicked." Yeah, but he stayed in the fight. And he didn't get his ass kicked every single battle. Yeah, he got, he was getting banged around. Don't forget,
had a long
he's
time
also
finish.
marching around with a freaking army full of civilians that he had to
Volunteers.
train
Correct.
from ground floor.
Untrained, there were
Untrained volunteers.
some
So
had fought for the British during the French and Indian Wars, but for the most part, you had farmers
Yeah, there were
fighting
a
a
lot
war.
that were just conscripted.
You had cabbage farmers fighting a war.
right.
Yep.
Here's the thing. All right. So
And I gotta pee.
he was
Joe's got to be.
he was a pious man. He was a good guy. He was an upstanding, moral person.
Yes.
But don't ever forget, he was America's best spy. He had the Culper ring, which was fantastic. And everybody knows the art of war is deception.
Yeah, he wasn't necessarily like the mastermind behind that.
He set up the culprit ring.
Yeah, he did.
He set up the culprit ring. So that is a deceptionary thing. So which isn't not really moral if you want to go the whole moral compass thing. It was his
There was a
military
degree of
grata.
psychology that he
Right.
employed.
And if he knew that psychology,
Yes.
and he knew that we're in the freaking Valley Forge freezing our balls off,
Right.
and the army's walking away,
Yeah.
and I have a divine vision, I see this, we're going to win every war in America.
See, that's kind of my
and people
point.
will be like, oh my God.
But let me offer
That's
this.
kind of my point. I wouldn't if I were Washington, I wouldn't set myself up as a prophet and like commit it down to paper and be like,
However,
these are
no,
the-" right?
you know-
But I might let it slip to my troops.
But see, here's the thing. The best way to do that is to only do it to your immediate circle and then let that shit filter.
Yes. Well, yes.
and here's what we
because-
got: somebody third hand writing something.
Because
Bingo.
what
That's
is on the ceiling of the Capitol Rotunda? It's a
George is
painting.
too busy choking.
Too
on
fucking easy.
YouTube over here.
It's a painting. I believe it's on the Capitol Rotunda. It's called, and I'm going to butcher this word.
The
probably.
Apothecary of Washington.
Yes, I was going to say the apotheosis, but yeah, the apothecary, which is the process of a
I'm gonna look it up
mortal,
because I think
It's like a pharmacy or
a
something.
mortal becoming a god.
Oh, it's apotheosis.
Apotheosis.
Yeah,
So,
no, apothecary is like where you.
Apotheosis.
Yeah, that's
where you
okay,
gotta get your,
so I was right,
back
you were
or
wrong.
something.
Apotheosis.
Which is so clearly there was this perception of Washington that he was almost like a go-between between man
Right.
and God.
Oh yeah.
And a story like this, as it got around, as that the story or legend, whatever myth, whatever you want to call it, gets around, that feeds into that.
Yep.
So clearly there was an event that happened that made people look at George Washington as divine in some way and going from mortal to godlike. You know, and they memorialize that in the Capitol building.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta,
There's something to that, I think.
I mean,
And I got
the Sandlot.
I gotta pee.
The
No,
Sandlot.
gotta do what you gotta
got
do.
the Sandlot, right?
Sandlot, like the movie with the kids.
Heroes
Oh,
get remembered, but legends never die.
No, yeah, that's true.
True.
But they do have to pee.
They do occasionally have to pee. That's true. They're men just like you and I.
So I don't know.
That's interesting though. That's
It's
a cool interpretation of it. Like he was elevated to like the
Mhm.
status of deity.
Absolutely.
And it pretty much happened in like the mid 1800s. Like that was kind of like the revival of George Washington and rally behind the banner. And I think that's kind of cool
Yeah.
as to whether it actually happened to him.
now,
or not.
mind you, okay, part of that being elevated to deity also has to fall on the fact that you're not a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, and
Because-
he was a pretty good guy.
He was a good guy, and
History
again,
goes, yeah.
he had the Continental Army, right?
Mhm.
And what did he do with it? He surrendered it, and then he went back to Mount
Right.
Vernon, and he went back to doing whatever he was doing.
Yeah, he said,
And
"No, I
they
don't want to
came
be."
looking for him to
Yep.
say, "Hey, we need your help. We need you to be the president."
Yep.
So
So he didn't want to be a leader after the revolution. He didn't want to be a leader in masonry. He refused, offers of becoming Grand Master.
Mhm.
That's correct, right?
yes, he
I don't
did.
think he
Yep.
even wanted to be master.
He never
but
even
was
wanted to be master.
unanimously voted.
That was
of-
just brother George Washington.
Alexandria,
That's a
23.
pretty humble man, right there.
Worshipful brother Joseph Schultz. They have a statue of Washington posing like a Greek god.
Yes, it's
Yep.
it's almost Baphomet like too.
Why you gotta say shit like that?
Because it is.
Oh, look what you did. Look
now
what
that
you did.
keyword,
Here they come
like
now.
the
Here
AI
they
algorithms
come.
are
There
going to
we
pick up on that.
No, but it was
Got
a
Carly Franz coming out of the woods.
Illuminati.
Jesus.
whip this out the flesh.
1 second. We're going to do that 1 second. I just want to say, worship brother Joseph
Take it
Schultz. I have seen that. I think that's in the Washington Masonic Memorial.
Yeah, it's a
It might be,
beautiful
the one
statue.
where he's like,
He's got
yeah.
like a toga over him. He's
If
got
they-
a sword in
yeah.
one hand and his
If
other
they
hand.
ever make a statue memorial of me, it's going to
That's
be in the
the
Captain
style.
Morgan pose
Yeah.
with no pants on.
Okay.
I think it would be more along
That's
the
also
lines
how. That's
of-
also how I want to be taxidermied, by the way, too.
I think it's going to be more along the lines of a garden gnome, but
Yeah, exactly. That's the size we're looking at.
there's actually a really cool, very similar statue of Ben Franklin inside the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia, where he's in this giant.
Yeah.
It's actually more reminiscent of the Lincoln Memorial,
Right.
but it's just
Oh, yeah.
beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
I think it's very it's very cool because like if you go back to like other like civilizations and times, they immortalize their own leaders and rulers. It's really cool that we could actually look back and like,
well, in
200 years from now, people are still going to be immortalizing those men for what they did.
in
Ken will
certain
still be alive
societies,
because he's a robot.
yeah, exactly. I'll be there. I
His
can tell you
battery's
about
got
that.
another 400 years after that.
In some societies, leaders were gods, right? Because you had the god king kind of thing where they were half deity, and that was just the way it was, right? It wasn't about being elevated to it. Like they were born that way. So when it happens like this kind of naturally, where somebody who's as humble as George Washington gets elevated to like the level of, not necessarily a deity, but pretty damn close,
Right.
like close to God. That's
So again, I'm thinking of like
pretty cool.
Julius Caesar.
Friend,
He was
Roman country.
he was immortalized. He was made a god in so many
Yeah.
words. Like you still,
I mean,
had statues
he
of him.
He ruled under the power of God as an emperor, right?
You had
So like
Augustus
he already
Caesar.
had something going for him.
Augustus Caesar. Like these are all people that are immortalized throughout time. Leonidas, we were just talking about him. Like these are people that have been immortalized over time. Just they were what's his name in a second.
Holiday.
Tell us your thoughts. Like, subscribe,
Smash that like button.
comment,
Hit that subscribe.
Let us know what you think about the story.
Comment. Ring that bell.
Real, fake. Was it really fake?
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because we just discovered the 3 ways it could have been used.
Yep.
Could have been just some guy who was I heard a story about Washington who was just doing it to get his own PR.
Yeah.
2, did Washington actually see this happen and this actually could have happened? Or 3, was it used as a motivation for his troops?
Propaganda.
Propaganda.
My big question is, so if this guy didn't publish this until 1861, how much money was made off of it?
Good question.
That's
Follow
my
the
question.
money.
Follow the. If the guy made a fortune off of it,
Show me the money.
then I would question his motives.
There was a lot of kind of like George Washington worship going on at that time in the country. He might have just been
Yeah, because
like,
you're coming up on
a
the 100-year
publisher.
anniversary.
Who was like, oh, I just want to like show my love for George Washington. Like it may not have been a money making scheme, but yeah, if there was money
Could've
made
been a
off
pride.
of it,
Could've
been.
If there was money to be made off of it, I would question some motives. But
Absolutely.
Correct. All right.
the big unveiling.
Oh God, the reveal.
So
Should I sneak around and get it close to the?
we should preface this with this is.
So I'll tell the back. I'll give it to Ken to go put in front of the camera.
Also, this is why you have to subscribe to us on YouTube, people.
So a few episodes ago, we read a review from Holiday.
See, I just want to say, before you put that up there, this is a proof that this is not my show. Because having this, oh God,
This was me. This was all me. This was all. No, not yet. No, let me tell the story. So, Holiday wrote this beautiful review of the show. Because George freaked out because we got a 1-star review.
freak out.
We freaked out. I have transcripts. It's all over Discord. We have transcripts, which you would see for as little as $5 a month. So Holiday writes this glowing review, and we're like, hey, we should send him a T-shirt. And then it became, hey, we should send him a green T-shirt because he's part of Gang Green, which is a subset of the Discord channel. And then it became, then I think I
I'm
might have
sorry
said
for everybody
something
watching.
of, yeah, I'll send you a shirt, but you got to like cut it into a half shirt and pose. And then there was the discussion of okay, well, make it like a George Costanza pose on the couch type of thing. Holiday took the challenge and said, you send me the shirt, I'll do it. So then I got called out. I had to contact Mrs. Rafferty. I had a special green Freemasons podcast shirt made up and custom. Only one exists. I sent it to him. Holiday, not going to be one-upped, sent a photo, took the picture and sent the photo of him in the Costanza pose. Me, not being one-upped, took that picture and made it into an 18 by 24 canvas print that is going to hang in the studio, I think above Australia, next to
I
Australia.
wouldn't do that to Australia.
somewhere up there, maybe next to Iceland. But now, for the first time, you are going to see, and Ken, before you show the picture, show the backing, show the quality of this canvas art print that
Ladies
we've got
and gentlemen
here.
who are watching, this is why we practice temperance. There should be no one-upping one another, but here we are.
But here we are, and
Show the damn picture.
we
please.
win. So, and I'm going to give you a countdown.
No, it's already, you can already see it on the
So
camera.
3,
He's inside
two,
the first lens.
1. Show the picture, Ken.
Jesus Christ.
There it is. That's our boy, and I love the imperial symbol tattoo on the forearm. Love that as a kid.
Jesus.
But this will be this is going to be hung up next to probably like near the Gideon T-shirt and whatnot. But there we go.
Here's to our
Gangrene.
last show.
So if
Here's to
anybody
our
wants to
last
know the representative sample of gangrene, there you are.
Shane's already on his way. The podcast handler is already on his way.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So that's quality
I can't
print.
believe this.
Quality print.
All right,
And I
boys.
think on that note, we got to shut it down.
Not yet. We have a toast to do.
Oh yes, we do.
We recently lost a brother of Connecticut Grand Lodge, Frank Mangiero.
Yeah, Associate Grand Tyler.
Grand Tyler.
Head of the CT CHIP program, which is Child Identification Program, the most comprehensive in the country. Past master of Anawan Lodge in Milford.
Yep.
And all around great guy. Great Mason, great guy. Took a lot of time to help people, brothers, even people he didn't know that well. He was just that kind of guy to extend a helping hand and do. He was a member of the Shrine, the Grotto, Scottish Rite, York Rite. He did everything, but he was a good man. He was a great man.
Services are going to be on Tuesday. Thank you, Chris. Between 9 to 12 p.m. So Tuesday, 9 to 12. But with that, let's do a toast.
Why don't you lead this one?
To brother, right worship brother, Frank Mangiero. I'm hoping that there is some sort of a GoFundMe page or something that we can donate to. And if that's the case, if you guys can find out,
I'll keep you posted. I talked to April.
blast it all over Facebook.
I'll find out
Yeah.
from April. Yeah.
Help out the
And,
kids or something.
Blast it all over our Facebook page, and we will put it in on the podcast
Yep.
next time.
Absolutely.
For anyone who wants to donate. So, brethren, right hand to arms.
To arms.
Ready.
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire. Good fire. Fire all. Together, brother.
Viva, viva, viva.
Alas, 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 my brother. That was kind of weird that somebody was hitting the horn in unison with our.
3 times.
Yeah,
We had a brother,
In
must have
unison
been a
with the
brother
viva.
out there saluting.
somebody out there's Rafferty out there
Somebody's throwing
listening.
us. I don't know if it's the bird or double hands.
It's got to be
I
Rafferty.
mean,
you know?
if that would be Rafferty, that's pretty.
So
What do you want, you freaking ogre?
Oh my
Yeah, he
God.
did. He really did.
How did he do that? There's a delay. How did he time it like that?
he's good like that.
Probably because he's seen my hands
But,
going up like
Was
this.
that Rafferty?
That was Rafferty, yeah.
Oh my God.
As you often heard at a Masonic service, alas, alas,
Yes.
Alas, my
my brother.
till we meet again.
Till we meet again. Rafferty's a creepy bastard who does that. Just randomly pops up outside the window
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the freaking time.
Does it at my house all the time.
He picked a perfect time to do it.
All right, let's shut it down for the Freemasons podcast. I am Right Worship Brother George Marjorie signing off.
Worshipful brother Joe signing off.
And Worshipful Brother Camp signing off.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
I gotta pee.
Good night, brothers and friends.
I gotta pee.